I've been a huge fan. We've both been huge fans of you for a long, long time.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, and you know, you got your start obviously in online criticism, specifically like centered on YouTube. Do you feel like there's been a benefit to kind of democratizing the title of online film critic for the internet? Like, what do you feel about that?
I have mixed feelings on it, to be honest. I feel like people mistake confidence for being good at a thing, and they're, sort of like we've had a lot of discussions on like the Dunning-Kruger effect, like in politics, but I think that's also true of online criticism. Like, there will be these people that like perform the affect of knowing what they're talking about, and if they conform to some people's bias, that can be all they need to do in order to amass really big followings. And that can, and actually as I was tweeting about this today, is like, like I have mixed feelings about my own history, like in the early shouty man days of online criticism, because I feel like I've kind of inadvertently contributed to this sort of really toxic media criticism environment, where there's just like a lot of bad faith, like Ben Shapiro style nitpicking, like taking the text really literally in a way that kind of leaks into the movies that get made. Like I think I talked a little bit about that, like the Beauty and the Beast video, about how like the creators of Westworld like saw a Reddit thread that guessed a plot twist, and so they changed the no, I think that was in it was like a video I did about how, like, creators are responding to fan interactions, and like how Disney movies will almost kind of make their films with like these sort of bad faith criticisms in mind, and so they kind of lose their magic in that way. So, but on the other hand, it's like you can't say there was no like snobbery back when film criticism was kind of restricted to like the Chicago Sun-Times and the New Yorker. So it is kind of a double-edged sword, because I think it really, the sort of taking this thing and turning it into a corporate model has made it like it incentivizes people from a business standpoint to make criticism that is sometimes extremely bad faith and bad. Wet
Yeah.
ass P word.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good example for sure. But it's also the idea of one of your most recent videos, Titanic is Good, actually, where you talk about reframing something to a positive angle versus making it a very negative angle, where it's a YouTube algorithm is rewarding the negative aspect of a film,
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
leads to, like, I can say their name, CinemaSins, but it leads to those kind of channels of just being the nitpicky channels where that's supposedly film criticism, and that's the first film criticism that a young person sees.
Yeah, that's definitely the case for a lot of people. Yeah, because I'm looking at my channel right now. That Titanic video hasn't even hit 1 million views yet.
Oh, really? I think
Yeah,
it's
so
great.
but it just kind of goes to show that like it is hard to because we've been trying to trend away from that. Like I think I did like the Game of Thrones ones I did last year were the last ones that were like, this thing sucks.
Yes.
And although I do still stand by that because I'm still mad about that.
Yeah, I was on a Game of Thrones podcast. Shout out to Casterly Talk. And I mentioned your video and how like you're really good at nailing certain points in the story that were just kind of out there, especially in the last season. Big ol' yikes. But yeah, that really, it was a question I had, because I really do feel like film criticism now is become this different ideology as far as what people think it is and what it actually is. Do you feel like there's still a way to go? Do people still need that publication to be considered a film critic?
I don't know. I think it's become less about like companies have increasingly valued like rating systems like Rotten Tomatoes more than like the validation of like some old guy like A.O. Scott. So but and I think the other weird thing is that like 5 years ago I was like just considered the dregs, and now you know, sort of the converse is that, like, you know, what is effectively self-published film writing has some legitimacy now in a way that it definitely did not 5 years ago. So yeah, it is interesting how it's shifting. Um, Not always in a good way, but definitely in a way that like allows for opportunity. But like, I guess again, the flip side of that is YouTube is becoming harder and harder to break into for new people, like, because the algorithm is acting against you until you have a big hit. And so basically it's like, I think the barrier for entry paradoxically is higher now than it was 5 years ago, just because of the way algorithms work. Like as a, for instance, I had a friend who he had like 10 follow, or he does a podcast with me, musical splaining. It's about musicals, and he had like 10 followers on Twitter like 6 months ago, and now he has almost 3,000, just because I started retweeting him. And it's like basically the barrier for entry now is you need a bigger creator to signal boost you, or no one's going to see you. And I don't think that was true 5-10 years ago.
Yeah, it really is a fascinating thing, especially nowadays. That's something that RB3 and I have actually been running into, because we started on YouTube and now we're with the publication Geeks of Color, where we actually write reviews and go out of our way to go to screenings and stuff like that. But it really is an interesting subject.